يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوت من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوط من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوط من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوط من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوط من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على أندرويد وآي أو إس. تطبيق يلا شوط من أقوى التطبيقات الرياضية في الشرق الأوسط. تم تصميم التطبيق بمميزات عديدة وبواجهات سهلة الاستخدام. عند إضافة فريق إلى المفضلة ستحصل على متابعة لحظية لنتائج المباريات وأخبار الفريق. كما يوفر لكم التطبيق معرفة القنوات الناقلة والمعلقين للمباريات، التعرف على ترتيب وأهداف أهم البطولات الأوروبية والعربية، عرض جدول المباريات بالطريقة التي تناسبكم من خلال الترتيب حسب البطولة أو حسب توقيت المباريات، بالإضافة إلى إخفاء البطولات التي لا ترغبون بمتابعتها، التعرف على من قام بتسجيل الأهداف في المباريات، وكذلك البطاقات الصفراء والحمراء. حمله الآن مجانا، متوفر على
We were always here to work, but I remember we went, I think it was Denmark, we were away. Some of the new signings, right? This was towards the end of my time. Some of the new boys were going McDonald's. So I was like, they're really settled. Yeah. They're really settled. Yeah. I call no names, but Sean Wright was one of them. Yeah. Sean Wright used to go, Gaffer, but I got a salad sandwich. And we're like, mate, it's McDonald's. You're not getting away with it.
Yeah. I think that for me, it would depend what the manager was and where you were staying. Because, but to be honest with you, there was a time where we stayed in New Jersey, just looking across at New York, and you could go there as many times as you want because the manager at the time wanted to go and experience that himself. But then there was another manager where we stayed in like a little village somewhere in Germany, which had nothing for about 20 miles around it. So it's not quite the holiday you would choose to go for, let's just say that.
Yeah, fair enough. If you've just tuned in, I've got with me, of course, Nader Manua and Sean Gota. We are talking about our first pre-season game against Preston North End taking place here at the CFA, and if you want to watch it, City Plus is the place to do it. Very simple, just jump on the website, sign up, subscribe, and you can watch the game in its entirety, of course, with all the other content on there, and you'll get our EDS games throughout the season and the women's game as well. And another little treat for you, just to tease you in that little bit more, none other than Sean Gota is going to be joining Alistair Mann on the commentary. Have you been brushing up on the old commentary skills, Sean?
Absolutely not. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Sean's going to be leaving just 2 minutes to go join Alistair Mann. So if that does not get you excited to watch this game, I don't know what will. So please do go subscribe. And I'll bring you the Manchester City team for our game against Preston North End. It looks like this. So, straight in for Zach Stefan in goal and Ruben Diaz, who only came back to training yesterday. Also at the back, we'll have Nathan Ake, Benjamin Mendy and João Cancelo. Fernandinho in the middle, I think that will possibly be with Ike Pozo. And of course, I think maybe Morgan Rogers or Cole Palmer. And Ben Knight is also there with Riyad Mahrez. On our bench, we've got Kieran Slicker, Philippe Sandler, Patrick Roberts, Jan Couto, Pablo Moreno, Sam Adozi, CJ Egan Riley, Shea Charles, 17 years old, wow, Matt Smith, Luke Bolton, Claudio Gomez, James McAtee, Mika Hamilton and Finley Burns. Now, of course, we would love nothing more than to have had some fans join us here. By the way, Sean has gone off to the commentary booth, so we'll be excited to hear him in just a bit. But, Nadim, it's very welcome news, isn't it, that, of course, we've got capacity for the Community Shield game against Leicester, and we're going to be welcoming fans back to the Etihad Stadium. How big do you think that's going to be for this season and for the players?
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely incredible. You know, when we see the summer that we just had in terms of, say, European championships and stuff like that, there were certain games which just felt different because you could hear the audience. There wasn't somebody in the booth pressing a button, you know, and you get a different sense. Everything on the field is big now. There's a great connection between the fans and the players, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah. I think at times we took it for granted how important that sort of atmosphere was, but then as soon as we went away, like, all those little things remind you, like, this is why you love doing the job that you do.
Yeah.
And I think for the players, seeing the fans being back out there, like, you know, I was at the last game of the season, like yourself, against Everton, and the players running out, clapping, Kevin De Bruyne scoring and celebrating with the fans in the corner. It's like, it gives you goosebumps.
Yeah.
And to see that back, it's a great opportunity for fans to get back to doing and seeing what they love, and for the players to be able to perform in front of an audience that are trying to will them on. I think that's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, of course. Well, guys, of course, we've announced the allocation for the Community Shield, and then very much we are looking forward to welcoming you back to the Etihad Stadium. That first game of the season is going to be so special. A final word, because of course we've got a whole load of young players this is a stadium and a pitch that they're going to be used to.
Yes.
So will that actually kind of, that must be nice for them to have a little bit of familiarity.
Without a doubt, if you're going to be playing potentially your first game for the first team in a stadium which is your own, that's a lot nicer than maybe going somewhere incredibly hostile. I wouldn't necessarily but I wouldn't necessarily love some of these guys to be playing their first game away at Deepdale in front of a full crowd.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice, but it's pre-season. I think they're going to enjoy it. It's a great opportunity. See how the very best of the best prepare for games. See how they play in games. See if you can fit in and see what your future looks like.
Well, before we kind of leave you, and we're going to hand over to Alistair Mann and Sean Gota, who have got your commentary for this game. Remember, do you know where to watch it? If I've not said it before, City Plus, the only place. It literally is on my microphone. I've just been told.
Exactly, subliminal messaging.
Nadem, if you were to maybe give us one or two players to maybe keep an eye out that you're quite excited to see, who would it maybe be?
So obviously the City regulars, they speak for themselves.
Yep.
But I'm looking in particular for Cole Palmer and Ben Knight today.
Yeah, nice.
They're going to be the two I'm going to be seeing to see how they fit into that system, see how they look alongside a team which is a majority of first teamers. This should be very good.
Absolutely. And do you think, you've been in their position, what do you think they'll be thinking now?
To be honest, the way these players are these days, they've got all the confidence in the world. You know what I mean? They've been playing in front of crowds and they've been known for a long time. They don't just arrive at this instance and this is the biggest occasion. And for some of them, they've had bigger ones. So I think they'll be feeling good. They'll be feeling excited. I think they'll understand it's pre-season. But what a great opportunity, because like I said earlier, for this moment in history, the shirt is theirs.
Yeah.
So make the most of it and enjoy it.
Oh, what a moment it will be for them, and how great that we'll get to see it, and you can do it too if you're watching the game. The other one I'll throw at you coming from the bench, Jan Couto. Really excited to see that Brazilian fullback. He had a great season in Spain last year. Okay, guys, so we are very close to kick-off. The teams are inside. I think we can see some of our coaching staff coming out. So without further ado, I will now be handing over to Alistair Mann and Sean Gota. And don't forget, as we do with all our games, we are going to be bringing you half-time action, and then we'll be bringing you action at full-time as well, looking into the game, some key moments, and maybe what we've seen from this pre-season first game. Very exciting. Massive thank you to join us. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Nadem. We'll see you at half-time. It's good to be back. Come on, City.
Tactical and emotional, in control and impulsive, animated, analytical, inventive, intensive, expressive and calm, passionate and intelligent. I am Pep Guardiola and this is the new Nissan Ariya.
City are 90 minutes away from winning the Premier League for the first time.
Goal! Breathtaking. Champions.
93-20, madness.
We're City. We don't do it the easy way. 93-20, forever in our history. And for this season, it's woven into our fabric. Manchester, it's a different city.
Champions.
Champions!
A very good evening to you all and a very warm welcome to this, the start of Manchester City's season, our first pre-season game at the CFA as Manchester City take on Preston North End. It has been 77 days since we clinched the Premier League title, 59 days since the season ended, and I've got to say that's 59 days too long without football, but we're back. We're here, and I've missed you, and I've missed these fine gentlemen next to me. Joining me to get into this game is none other than Nader Manua and Sean Goater. Gents, so good to be back. How are you? Absolute pleasure. I mean, Sean, always a treat to see you, but I want to begin by saying you must be buzzing with Bermuda's first Olympic gold medal that happened today.
I was wondering if you was going to just dodge that one there, but you done well.
It's got to be said. Look how happy he is, Nader.
We're champions.
Hey, well, it's your champions, we're champions, and hopefully we're going to be regaining that Premier League title this season. But of course, we've got a small matter of our first pre-season game, and here to get into that are these guys. Guys, pre-season, I mean, how is it for the players, you know? And what I guess I want to know, first of all, is what is the main purpose of it?
Do you want me to begin?
Yeah.
Well, your first preseason was when I was just a very young boy, so I'll let you take the lead and I'll bring it forward.
Well, yeah, preseason's a little bit different nowadays, but certainly in my time of preseason, it was about getting minutes so that you can, if you're playing your first game, you want to be strong up until at least the 80 minutes if possible. Everyone is always shattered when you get to around 80, 85 minutes. It's normally the hottest day on record. But yeah, it's about getting your fitness. Preseason games about not getting fit, and can you get your minutes under your belt. For managers, it's about players understanding, tactical things that he may look to explore throughout the season, but it's about fitness.
I mean, we're so excited because obviously we're hopefully going to see a load of young players in the squad, but that is because we've not got a full first team as we're used to. So I wonder, how does Pep manage not having a complete squad? We're going to bring you the team very soon, but I've always wondered about that because obviously you're missing some key players.
Yeah, I think for somebody like him who's managed some of the biggest clubs in the world, every 2 years there's inevitably going to be a tournament, and you're going to have players who are going to be participating. Their seasons are not going to finish till late in June, maybe early July.
Yeah.
So chances are they won't be there for the first bit of pre-season. So I think in the past we've probably learned to manage that. And, those guys, they don't necessarily need to be going through the same sort of fitness routine as somebody who didn't go and play in an international tournament. So I think he's aware of how the players are. He's aware of how he wants them to play. And to piggyback on Sean's point, it's about fitness. It is about getting things tactically right. But that's when you have a good manager, because I've had tons of managers who just want to break you from minute one. To be honest, those are some of the longest weeks of my life. But I think in Pep here, you're just going to try and get this. I think he's going to try and get the team to be rolling, to be comfortable again with the style of play, and know that ultimately, even though they won the league last year, they have to be better if they're going to win the league again this year. And I think that's what we'll probably see going forward.
And that's something, as we know, with Pep, he's been so good at installing in these players. We will definitely be coming back to hearing about the stories where you were broken in pre-season. Final word before we get on to team news. Sean, for young players, and of course we're here at the CFA where we do have one of the best academy facilities in the world, some of the greatest young players. This really is a chance for them, I guess, to kind of show what they're about and maybe, shine a light on themselves that necessarily they wouldn't have had if there was a full first team here.
Well, yeah, I think Pep's well aware of these young players, and as you said earlier, we're not got the full squad, so these players will be looking to put a good foot forward in terms of impress the manager, so they can showcase their skill, their ability, and give Pep something to think about.
Right, let me bring you this team. Remember, if you want to see these players in action, you can actually watch this full game against Preston North End on City Plus. That is our streaming service. Very, very simple. All you need to do is sign up and subscribe, and that will be the only place you can watch this game. And of course, you'll get on there as well all the EDS games throughout the season, home and away. We'll also be showing some of our WSL games, and as well, you get full match highlights from our first team at full time. They go straight on, not to mention a whole load of documentaries. I mean, it's all there for you to enjoy. Just subscribe, and can you watch this game with Sean commentating, by the way, I've just been told.
This is
hello.
Hello.
Wow, okay, Alistair.
Tune in.
Tune in. All right, let me bring you then our first team of the season for our pre-season game against Preston North End. It looks like this. Very strong. Zach Stefan starts in net. It's looking like Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, Benjamin Mendy and João Cancelo in defence. Fernandinho's there in the middle, I'm thinking, with Ike Pozo, Riyad Mahrez, Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer and Ben Knight complete the 11. And then it is a very full bench, some very exciting young names here that hopefully we'll be getting a glimpse of. Kieran Slicker on the bench is partnered up with Philippe Sandler, Patrick Roberts, Jan Couto, Pablo Moreno, Samadozi, CJ Egan-Riley, Shea Charles, 17 years old Matt Smith, Luke Bolton, Claudio Gomez, Finley Burns, James McAtee and Mika Hamilton. I think lots for us to discuss there, but first of all, what I was struck by, gents, was, and I know that I think Nathan Ake, Mahrez, Cancelo, they only really turned up to training yesterday, straight into the team. Are you surprised by that?
Surprised a little bit, maybe, but going into this game, I doubt they're going to be playing for anything more than 45 minutes. And in some ways, if you sort of take away the psychology of it, they probably do more in a training session. So I think as far as that goes, it helps to have minutes in them. And the team's only got 2 pre-season games before the season begins. If you choose to skip one, where does that leave some of those players who've been around for this time? And so it's just it's a necessary evil for this point, but hopefully it makes a big difference further down the line.
This might seem like a bit of a silly question, Sean, but obviously, you
You're
look
good for a silly question.
Hey, you love that.
Question, yeah.
But you look at these players and you go, do they actually get a little bit rusty when you have 2-3 weeks holiday? Is it kind of, if I've not played football for a couple of months, I need a few games to get the first touch back in, and even then it's not great. Do those players need it as well a little bit, just to get kind of back feeling used to being on a pitch?
Well, these players, they go all year round. I mean, different to my time, you would get around a good 6 weeks, so you'd lose your timing, you lose your fitness, all those things. These players are at the most, they've had about 3 weeks. You tend to lose your fitness around the second week, towards the end of the second week. So these guys are, again, the timing and all that will be spot on. Again, it'll just be about finding their rhythm. I think Pep will be looking for these guys as they shift and pass the ball, getting a rhythm, hearing that ball go bop, bop, bop.
And I think as well, it's the getting in the rhythm of playing with each other again. Because for those guys, even though they were playing maybe 3 weeks ago, they weren't playing with this team in this setup. So for some of those guys now, it's a chance to go and play with, say, Zach Stefan behind you again, to play alongside Ruben Diaz. Like those familiar things which will matter more as the season progresses.
Word you said there, rhythm, and if we cast our minds back to the start of last season, we did kind of have a lot of talk how there was no pre-season, and would you say that's probably one of the biggest things why we say we miss it a bit, is because they didn't have the chance to find the rhythm, and we maybe saw that at the beginning of the season when we were maybe intense?
Listen, possibly. It's definitely a potential reason. It doesn't necessarily have to be, because I've seen some teams who have terrible pre-seasons and have great seasons.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I was part of a team which won every game in pre-season, then didn't win a league game for 16 games. So as far as all that stuff goes, it's not always that simple. But for a team like City, with the talent that they have, they can be good, but when things fall into place, they can be great. And unfortunately, at the start of the season, they had a few things which went against them, and they weren't able to perform to the highest standard. But as we saw from last year, I think they finished off pretty well.
Well, I'm going to keep it real. In terms of pre-season, it's just important that guys get this real rhythm, moving the ball, shifting the ball. Again, Natham said it earlier about them sharing the ball, getting that rhythm, understanding players. I mean, I'm intrigued to see where players certain play, because where they play. I'm looking at Cancelo and thinking, well, he ends up in a number 10 role, or he was doing that last season. Where does he end up? Where does he end up tonight? Does he start at fullback? But again, it's about finding that rhythm, finding that breeze, and being able to go, okay, I've gotten through a good 60 minutes or whatever the managers give them, to then look forward to the next game.
We've had a few of our young players been confirmed that they have actually been officially confirmed as joining the first team squad this season, which is very exciting.
Awesome,
one name that we can see in our starting 11 who is one of those players is Cole Palmer. Well, I think we were maybe here as well for the EDS Liverpool game.
Yeah.
Just what is the potential, do you think, of Cole Palmer? I know he's very highly thought of. I think he did, yeah. There was that one when he did look like Mahrez, do you remember?
Yeah. It's another Mahrez. Like every time I come to this sort of vicinity, I see Mahrez somewhere. Doesn't matter what the age group is. But, you know, it's a great opportunity. You know, given the fact that, say, players have been away on international duty and so on, I think the fact that somebody can be granted the chance to go and play alongside some players like a Cancelo, like a Mahrez, like a Fernandinho, it allows you to be able to test yourself alongside them, see how you fit into that team, and who knows, if you look good, that'll get you to that next stage perhaps. Whereas, you know, in normal times, somebody will probably be playing ahead of you, but at this moment in time, we look at it and, you know, it maybe this is hyperbole, but that's his shirt.
Yeah.
That's his shirt. What are you going to do with it?
I mean, it's something that you will have experienced, Nadim, and for those young players, does it mean a lot to be involved in the pre-season?
I think my first pre-season game for City's first team was against Bury. I think it was in the 2002-2003 season, and it felt incredible. I was putting the shirt on, but not just like one which didn't fit me because it's one size fits all in the academy. It's like, this is the shirt for the club, and I'm alongside this first teamer, that first teamer, and we're going out to play this game against this side in a stadium in pre-season. And I got selected by the manager. And at the time, it was Kevin Keegan.
Yes.
You know, this former England manager, Kevin Keegan, has picked me to be here. And I played in the game. I think I hit the crossbar from a corner and stuff like this. And I'll never forget that feeling of walking away thinking, yeah, I absolutely loved it. I was looking forward to it, played in it, incredible, and I still remember it to this day.
And then for the more senior players, Sean, when you know, does it give you a bit of kind of new energy, and do you kind of take on the role of kind of wanting to talk them through the game a little bit when you have got these young players with you in the squad?
Well, when you got young players, they're there because they deserve to be there. So I was not one of those to baby a player. But when things went wrong, I was there with their supporting arm and saying, "You'll get through this." But players don't want you to be holding their hand, because the first thing I say is, "You're in here because you deserve to be here."
Yeah.
Go and do what you normally do.
Yeah.
And that sort of partnership, then they'll understand and they go on and perform really well.
We've got Fernandinho starting, of course, and we were all waiting with bated breath at the end of the season to go, like, was he going to sign that year extension? I know all the fans wanted it, and great to see that the club wanted it, because he is here for another year. To both of you, I'll begin with you, Nadim. How important do you think that is, not just for City, but actually for the young players and the season ahead?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. You know, that's a leader amongst men. You know, for the disappointment with, say, like the Champions League and stuff like that, people felt that the thing that was missing was a Fernandinho, for example. You know, obviously, in hindsight, you never know. But that's a guy who's been at the club long enough to know what the fabric of the club is, to know what the fabric of this particular team is, to know what the manager wants, to know how to get success whilst being here, whilst competing against everybody in England, everybody around Europe. Those people are invaluable, because whoever comes through the door to replace him, they have potential. But in somebody like Fernandinho, that is what you want. The person that's coming in, you want them to be like him, because he's so important on the field, off the field, in terms of the way that he plays, in terms of the way he conducts himself. I think he sets the standard. And for me, aside from, say, back a few years ago when I saw like a Vincent Kompany, who I thought was, you know, this is the standard, this is the guy, I look at someone like Fernandinho and say, that's this era's version of Vincent Kompany. Yeah. That's how I see him anyway.
Wow, it's the biggest compliment you can pay him as well.
There you go.
We mentioned Cole Palmer. Morgan Rogers is another player I'm really excited to see. A young Ben Knight who we signed from Ipswich. I wondered, as you look at the bench, if there was any other players you were quite looking forward to seeing, Sean, in yourself. I mean, Felipe Sanders, we know it's sent off. Jan Couto, the Brazilian right-back who had a great season in Spain, he looks like he has a lot of potential.
Well, if you're coming from Spain and you had a bit of a period in Spain, you've got to be half decent. We know these guys will be technical. Last season, if I'm right, I think they finished around 13th. The manager, then the transition period. So it'll be intriguing to see, you know, because their manager will be really excited to come up against Pep. So he'll be wanting to put his DNA and say, listen, I want us to go out there, be on your front foot. Don't be afraid. You're playing against City. Go and impress yourselves. Yeah. So it'll be really intriguing to see how Preston, you know, attack this game.
I think from playing against Preston in the Championship for a couple of years, whatever, like, they're no fun to play against. So for some of those youngsters, for the technical ability that they have, this is a great opportunity, because they're coming up against a side who aren't necessarily more so concerned about just moving the ball. They're more concerned about results. These are people who play for their livelihoods. Yeah. So it's like, you know, are you going to go out there and be able to perform when somebody's in your face for 90 minutes, because that's what they're going to do for another 46 games once this game's over.
Oof, very exciting. Well, listen, if you want to see how they fare, City Plus is the only place that you're going to be able to do that. Just subscribe and you'll be able to watch the game in full. Now, let me cast your mind back to 2019. A little known...
Euros got to the knockout stages. It's quite an extraordinary feat, all 13 of them. Most of them scored, actually, as well, Sean, interestingly enough.
Well, City having a huge influence in the Euros as well. You know, our players have much experience nowadays.
That ball was given away to Cole Palmer. Here's Fernandinho. Now João Cancelo, who missed the Euros because he tested positive for COVID. He played in all the pre-season, I say the pre-season, the pre-Euros matches for Portugal. And then tested positive in the couple of days before the tournament started and had to go home.
Well, as you said earlier, Preston being haven't had a good 5 or 6 games under their belt. It'll be interesting because with City obviously in-house in their own training, you know, only City players know exactly what they've done, but it'll be intriguing because what you're wanting as a player before you go into the start of the season is a good 6 games. You know, if you had around 6 games and certainly 3 of those games you've had 90 minutes, you feel you're ready for the opening game. We don't know the number of games that City have played in-house, but we know it's been a short turnaround.
That's really well done, and City now with an opportunity if they can just get there. Iker Pozzo almost stolen. But, the ball thumped away by Connor Ripley in the end. Euros or the Copa America. There's even a few playing in the... I noticed Richarlison of Everton on target for Brazil the other day. So there are so many disruptions to pre-season these days, and throw in COVID and you've got yourself a pre-season like no other, really. City likely to have maybe just one more outing, it seems, against Barnsley before they play Leicester, whether you consider that the opening game of the season or a glorified pre-season friendly. And then it's straight to Spurs for the opening match of the Premier League weekend. First things first, as Diaz gets in the way of the intended ball, that eventually it broke for Ched Evans, whose shot was blocked. Ake in the way, and he guides it back to Zach Steffen. Nicely laid off by Fernandinho, who signed a new deal just a few weeks ago to extend his stay at City.
So many supporters are very pleased with Fernandinho putting pen to paper. That is like a new signing, a huge signing, because we know the job that he's done for the club. Brilliant for these young lads who are coming up, training alongside and playing these pre-season matches against him. You just know he leads by example.
Well, he's 36 years old now, Fernandinho, but if you didn't know that, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was in his early 20s. The way he springs around the field and the way he reads the game has never altered. Here's João Cancelo, meanwhile, trying to bring in Rodgers, but he couldn't quite stretch out long enough. To be fair, he kept it in City possession, but not for very long, and Preston have the opportunity to break.
Well, that's his second opportunity. João Cancelo has had to look for the diagonal ball, and his pass has been spot on.
Well, referee's way play on. Barkhausen allowed to continue, but his pass is given away. Referee allowing play to continue, and it breaks out to Joshua Earl, who plays it into the path of Potts, and he goes back to Hughes.
interesting to see Diaz back so soon and back amongst the preseason games. And I reckon when he came back, he probably said, I want to get involved. This is the sort of character he strikes me as. But really good to see him, you know, the fact he went as far as he did in the Euros, to see him back playing in these games.
Manchester City's player of the season, Ruben Diaz. Incredible first campaign as a Blue. City appearances in all competitions already for Ruben Diaz. And there are many who feel he'll be the next captain of City in the not too distant future. And this man, Fernandinho, decides to hang up the boots. Offside against Riyad Mahrez. Strikes you as a potential captain, doesn't he, Ruben Diaz?
Oh yes, well he's got the leadership qualities. You know, he's the one that's brought in, you know, when they're making defensive challenges and knowing how important they are, he's high-fiving, and that's now just going right the way through the team. When you see defensive, you know, defending, it's him that, you know, the Stones and them, they like Ake, they're all high-fiving because they realize how important it is. But he is a leader. You can see it in his game and in his presence.
Just showed a replay there of a shout that Morgan Rogers had for a penalty. The referee waved it away. Long ball out towards Ched Evans, but City win it back. Mahrez with a delightful touch inside, and an opportunity may be, which is well saved. Ben Knight came charging in, but out came Connor Ripley, and it was a good stop to deny him.
Well, an excellent through ball. He's timed his run, absolutely brilliant. It's probably on his weaker foot, and therefore he makes the decision to shoot. And I think if it's on his stronger foot, he actually fakes to shoot and puts it on. He then put it on his other foot and slot it in. But good opportunity for City.
19 years old, Ben Knight. Played in the title-winning Premier League 2 City side, the under-23s in theory, but so many of those players are 18, 19 years old. Great experience for the likes of Ben Knight just to be in the dressing room alongside some of these City senior players. Riyad Mahrez a little puzzled by the decision that's gone against him. Felt he'd been impeded by Joshua Earl. Anyway, Preston have it. Goes all the way back to Ripley, who sends it long towards Potts. Won well by Fernandinho. Here's Mendy. Okay, bringing it forward stealthily, finding Pozzo, and now João Cancelo. Looks as though a bottle of peroxide blonde has found its way into the City dressing room. Quite a few have gone that way, it seems, in pre-season.
That's good if you've got the hair.
City trying to make progress with Rogers, whose cross goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's good through ball. Rogers there, the left-footed cross. He's overcooked that one. He'll obviously want to put in a better cross next time. But looking at the tempo, what I'm bearing in mind that the audience won't quite know is pre-season you tend to work awfully hard in the morning as well for an early session, and then you'd have a game in the evening. And so when we look at this game, again, City will be playing this game at the pace to control it. knowing that they would have had also a physical hard session earlier this morning.
No. Cole Palmer adjudged to have put his boot too high. Players, a lot of players don't look forward to pre-season training, is the impression I've got over the years.
You're very right there. We know we need it. I have to say, I never really suffered with injuries, and they were because of pre-season and getting through. So all these players may not like and enjoy pre-season, but they'll certainly enjoy the games because this is where they get the fitness, the timing, passing.
Chad Evans has it for Preston, plays it into Earl, and Preston trying to build down their left with Andrew Hughes. João Cancelo makes life difficult. It comes off Mahrez for a Preston throw. Ryan Ledson guides it forward, looking towards the run of Barkhausen, but City again getting it away, but it's a really good play that by João Cancelo. Didn't look as though he was the favourite to win that used the upper body and levered the ball into his favour.
And this is, the likes of him, Kyle Walker, having that pace allows him to recover in situations like that. And his pace certainly helped him and being aware of the situation.
Strike from Potts, going harmlessly wide. And so far, Zach Steffen hasn't had to do too much.
This is a part I'm intrigued to see, which is, will they press? They're looking to press even this preseason because it's about getting fitness. Again, they're a good 3-4 weeks ahead of us, and the number of players they've got to look to press City and try to make City pass long. But City being City will play their way out.
Foul by Mendy gives Preston a free kick. Incidentally, the Manchester City pitch has been completely overhauled. In fact, I think it still is being fully overhauled as we speak. That's the reason City are playing here against Preston rather than on the Etihad Stadium surface. But an awful lot of work has taken place on the City pitch. Now here's a free kick to Preston, taken very, very quickly, and in the end it was turned in by Barkhausen, but City were smart enough to get that one away for a throw.
Well, I have to say, Ben Knight switched off because he was maybe 6 shots away from the ball, and it's played, he turned away, it's played down his side, and Preston probably feel a bit unfortunate not to have capitalised in that situation, but he needs to be switched on, Ben Knight there.
Yeah, it was bailed out by Nathan Ake, who slid in to clear. Well, part of the learning process, your responsibilities are not just about going forward, but defensively too when you're a midfielder. Now, João Cancelo's turned away. A clash with Ched Evans. And referee's given a free kick.
Yes, I think João Cancelo's read the flight of the ball to go and attack it. Evans has seen him on the corner of his eye and tried to delay him, and as he's put his arm, he's caught Cancelo somewhere in and around the face, but Cancelo is up and he seems to be okay.
City have already taken the free kick and João Cancelo is okay, as Sean rightly said. Now here's Knight taking up a good position. Brings in Riyad Mahrez and he helps it along the line to Fernandinho, and out it goes to Mendy. Back to Fernandinho again, and his pocket was picked by Barkhausen, and Preston tried to build. Ruben Diaz has been penalised, and it's a free kick to the visitors.
Cancelo, I don't think, was happy with Evans in that previous little situation, and he's just had a little word. So normally pre-seasons you want him to get on with players getting their fitness and being clean. I don't think anything much will come of that though.
Well, they're still professional footballers, no matter the occasion. Here's Riyad Mahrez with a chance maybe to take on a couple of Preston players. He finds João Cancelo, went for the bending shot, and City settle for their second corner of the game, cleared by Earl. Two-footed João Cancelo makes him such a dangerous player.
Yes, I mean, he is a player that can put the ball on his left foot, being a right-footed player, and put it in the top corner. We've seen him do it. Sometimes I've watched and thought, no, don't put it on your left, but now I've seen him play enough times, I'm thinking, you put it on your left, he is that good to switch it on his left foot and curl it from that sort of angle.
He scored 3 goals last season in all competitions for the Blues, João Cancelo. Useful when defenders can weigh in with that kind of figure. Here's Palmer, who of course played 90 minutes for the first team against Burnley in the Carabao Cup. And then there's a foul on Rodgers and a free kick to City, which Riyad Mahrez very, very swiftly gets on the ball for. Foul on Rodgers, which offers the left foot of Riyad Mahrez an opportunity to test out Conor Ripley in the Preston goal. Well, Ripley knows what's coming, just doesn't know which side the bending shot's going to go. Is it to his right or to his left? The wall, of course, guarding the near post as Mahrez looks at it. He's gone above it and into the net. Delightful from Riyad Mahrez. And even though, as I mentioned, goalkeepers know what's coming, you still can't do anything to prevent it.
No, it's absolutely beautiful the way he struck it. You know, the goalkeeper, I think he's delaying as long as possible, thinking it may go to his right. Mahrez, it's a wonderful free kick into well, it's not quite top corner, but the goalkeeper in delaying just can't get there. Mahrez has just continued off from where he went last season.
Well, Pep Guardiola knows it may be a friendly, but he does also know that Riyad Mahrez will use an occasion like this to test out his free kick ability. And he has passed the test with flying colours, and City in the 25th minute lead Preston North End with their first goal of pre-season. Absolutely terrific free kick from Riyad Mahrez. I think Sean's probably right. I don't think it was the top corner as such, but as a goalkeeper like Ripley, he was a little bit caught whether to go right or left, and was been in no man's land in the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was thinking Mahrez may go to his right, and in that little bit of a delay, he can't get across to his left, and therefore it just ends up being a superbly struck free kick.
Well, he weighed in with 14 goals in all competitions last season. Riyad Mahrez. It's probably his best ever season, you could argue, for City. Not just the statistics, but the way in which he played. Riyad Mahrez seemed to be at the peak of his powers. 30 years old now. Captain of Algeria. Now the ball has gone out towards Rodgers. If he can keep it in, he can't.
Slightly overhit by Fernandinho, but Fernandinho's hit 2 or 3 diagonals that's come off. That one is probably 6 inches, just too long. Again, we're talking about timing. This is the rhythm that they're looking for, that range of passes, whether it's short or long, and getting that rhythm. And as he gets more minutes and more games, this is where you'll see those passes be spot on.
And a quick glance at Frankie McAvoy, the Preston manager, took over in March and got some good results actually in the last few games of the season before the championship campaign closed, and was given the job full-time after initially being given it as a caretaker role after Alex Neil was removed from the position. He was the assistant to Alex Neil before stepping up. And he's in charge of his first full campaign as Preston boss. It's a relentless season, the Championship. 46 league games, and you start in the first round of the Carabao Cup as well. And you start a week before the Premier League, and you finish a week before the Premier League finishes. And Sean knows only too well what a hectic division it is, the Championship.
It's never ending, but it's not forgiving as well, because each game is, each opponent comes up. It's a real physical challenge and an aggressive challenge. It isn't, tackles. They properly go in for tackles. But this is a good test, because again they're a little bit ahead in terms of fitness. So this is what Pep will want. Can we retain the ball? Retain possession, move the ball, get that rhythm till we get to the final third and see there's that interplay with Mahrez coming in off the line, Cancelo driving in and coming into that number 10 position as well.
It was Pozzo who was fouled for the free kick that City have now taken. João Cancelo and Riyad Mahrez combining sweetly as ever. In the end, Mahrez just losing out in the challenge to Earl. And away come Preston on the counter-attack with Barkhuizen, tried to find Chet Evans, who then caught Fernandinho. And City have a free kick.
Well, just going back to that situation with Mahrez, I mean, Mahrez had beat him that badly that the player was off balance and fell into Mahrez. How the foul was given, I'm quite not sure. I'm sitting there smiling because he absolutely beat him. He absolutely tore him apart.
Yes, we were talking before about how João Cancelo is two-footed, Riyad Mahrez equally so these days, and the fact that he can go outside or inside makes him such a difficult player to mark. Here's Cole Palmer, meanwhile, for the Blues, who lead through that Mahrez goal. Mendy around the outside, brilliant burst from him, cleared but not too far. Rodgers then has a go, and Ripley is in the right position to stop Morgan Rodgers, who was on loan last season at Lincoln City, you may recall, got all the way to the playoffs in League One, weighed in with a few useful goals as well, and he was on target there but lacked the power.
I'm really liking the look of Rodgers. He's again, City players have this really good technique. So it'll be interesting to see him get in and around the goal to see what his abilities like in terms of shots and working the goalkeeper.
I first saw Morgan Rodgers playing for West Brom against City in a Youth Cup tie. He then joined the Blues the following season and has been given senior action at Lincoln. Meanwhile, Preston trying to open City up here. Clearance goes as far as Ledson, whose shot is not particularly well struck, and Zach Steffen is down comfortably to gather for the Blues.
Yes, actually, Preston will be real pleased. Nathan Ake does some good defending, clears it, gets it just outside the box, and that shot doesn't really work the keeper enough. But Preston will be pleased with getting in the final third and having a shot.
Ripley deciding to go long with Knight close by. João Cancelo wins the header, breaks for Riyad Mahrez into the path of Fernandinho. Plenty of options to his right and left, goes to Rodgers, and here is Rodgers. Can he find a shot? Just closed off as he attempted to release the ball. Finds Palmer, brings in Mendy, and now Fernandinho. Nicely slipped through to Palmer. Here's Rodgers again. Tried to play it to Mahrez on the edge of the area, but Potter's in the way. And Preston try to build, but Diaz is there to read it well, and Pozzo with a header, and now João Cancelo gets the return from Pozzo, and City down this right-hand side looking a menace with Mahrez and Cancelo back in the groove. And there's Mahrez, gets to the byline and takes the deflection on the cross, and it goes out for another corner.
Again, these two just combine, and you have it, no, you have it. João Cancelo, no, you have it. Some brilliant play.
Corner taken short to Palmer. Back to Mahrez, who delivered. Tried to find Ake. Cleared as far as Fernandinho. Delightful play from Fernandinho, that really was. His cross was deflected, but it still reaches Mahrez. Here's João Cancelo. On the far side was Knight, and that was the intended recipient, but the ball goes out for a throw-in.
Well, we just saw a little moment there. Fernandinho, defensive midfielder, ends up in a wide position. I think he just had to remind the defender that I'm Brazilian. A few step overs. He'll be disappointed with the actual cross, but he done enough to get more than a yard, sending him the wrong way. So, but Fernandinho would not want to be in those positions. He'll want to be central, dictating play.
He did really well, Fernandinho. .350 City appearances, Fernandinho. And hopefully another 50 more at least next season with his fitness levels. At the start of last season, City could play in 62 matches. They ended up playing in 61. The only one they didn't play in was the FA Cup final. They played the maximum of Champions League, Carabao Cup. Obviously, here's João Cancelo. Nicely taken by Rodgers. Now Mahrez. Well, there's plenty of activity on the sideline as we reach the last 10 minutes of the first half. A number of City substitutes available, and doubtless we'll see all of them at some point. Here's Mahrez.
It's quite normal what we're seeing Preston Northern do now, which is really just stay compact. You know, again, they'll be happy with the possession the City have outside the box, but they certainly want to have bodies to make it compact.
Well, the through ball does not catch Barkhausen offside, and in the end it was excellent goalkeeping by Zach Steffen. The sweeper keeper, you could call him that.
Brilliant bit of goalkeeping.
Now City on the counter-attack. Mahrez and João Cancelo again combining, but this time won by Hughes. But Zach Steffen absolutely faultless. Now here's Fernandinho, might think about clipping it through towards Rodgers, and almost did. Here's Pozzo, he's just beaten to it, and Preston can smuggle the ball away. But goalkeepers don't just have to make contributions with their hands, they have to make them with their feet, and Zach Steffen has to be applauded for the way that he got there in front of Barkhausen a few moments ago.
Well, they were looking to counter-attack Preston there, and who ends up there breaking it up? Well, it's Fernandinho. Again, just knowing where to be, positioning himself. The players over-knocked his dribble, and Fernandinho is there to collect that, and City regain possession.
Ake and Fernandinho keeping the ball between them for a few moments, not letting anyone else have a touch. And then Ake finds Ruben Diaz. Back to Ake, who played a couple of games for the Netherlands in the Euros as a substitute. Oh, that's well, the flag's gone up. Otherwise, it could have been very, very interesting, because Knight might well have been adjudged to have been through on goal there, but the flag had already gone up for offside, and Liam Lindsay's not going to be red carded.
Wow, Benjamin Mendy is pulled off a brilliant pass. But looking at Zach here, he's read it. He's held himself thinking, I need to see the bounce. Does it come through to me? He has to go, and he does exceptionally well in timing it.
A couple of major talking points. At one end, Zach Steffen with a brilliant interception. Then at the other, Ben Knight looking as though he was going to steal through. Liam Lindsay held him back, but was saved by an offside call. Would have been interesting had the flag not gone up, whether the referee would have sent him off. Maybe a pre-season friendly, but rules are the rules, I suppose. Anyway, here comes Preston looking for an equaliser. Earl has it, now Barkhausen. Goes back to Ledson. Ledson's ball in is a tempting one, but it's cleared in the end by Ruben Diaz, and then Cole Palmer up towards Knight. City win it back with Palmer. Palmer gets it for a third time and then manages to get away from one challenge but not the other, and then brilliant goalkeeping by Zach Steffen in front of Barkhausen, and just as well that he was, or it would have been a tap in for an equaliser. He's been sharp, Zach Steffen, considering he only returned to first team training yesterday.
Yes, he looks absolutely on it. It doesn't look as though, you know, his timing's off in any way. Again, he's reading the bounce of the ball, when to come, is making the absolute right decision. And again, his handling on a few occasions has looked nice and tidy as well.
Here's Fernandinho, now Mendy, Fernandinho. Diaz, João Cancelo, again Mahrez available. When is he not? Pozzo, João Cancelo up towards Knight, it's just above his head and was cleared in the end with a backward header by Story. City still in possession of the ball though with Rodgers, and now Fernandinho, and Mahrez has it, looking for the 1-2 with Pozzo maybe. In the end it reaches João Cancelo. That's delightful from Cancelo. And he still manages to find Mahrez, and Mahrez clips it in towards Mendy, who stole in, and Palmer's over the bar. Terrific move by City. Mendy stealing in round the back, picked out by Mahrez, who held it on to Cole Palmer, and Palmer will be disappointed that he hasn't scored.
Yes, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant play. I mean, the ball by Mahrez is absolutely beautiful, and Palmer, I've been really impressed because his arrival into the box, his timing is really good. I'm really impressed with him, and I know that it's an easy chance that he's had there, but again, we talk about timing. The more games, the more minutes you get, these sort of things become very, very simple.
Well, Cole Palmer, I mentioned, played against Burnley in 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup. He had a little cameo appearance in the Champions League against Marseille last October, and he was on the City bench 8 times in the Premier League. Very much part of the first team squad, and one thing Pep Guardiola has always done is introduce youngsters into the first team fray, just so they can get a taste of what it's like to be among some of the greatest names in the game. And there's no better opportunity than pre-season to just make a name for yourself, as Phil Foden did, you may recall, a few summers ago in a Manchester derby in America. And if memory serves, in an interview after the game when Phil Foden made his bow in pre-season, Pep Guardiola said this kid's one of the best he's ever seen, and how true a prediction that's proven to be. And remember, Phil Foden's only just turned 21.
Again, we've just seen Fernandinho attempt a ball over the top, and again, we're talking a half of, a foot just off the pass, and again, I just see, another game or two. These passes are absolutely spot on, and it's you can see he's actually inches out from his passes at this moment, but they just become tighter and tighter till they become perfection.
Preston trying to build from the back, and they've managed to work it through to Barkhausen, but good challenge by Ruben Diaz. Ake then in the way of Ched Evans and lays it into the path of Diaz. João Cancelo and Diaz, and now Mendy. City working it really sweetly from the back, even if they are a little rustic. Here's Fernandinho. Now João Cancelo trying to thread it through to Ben Knight. It's a lovely attempt, wasn't it? And the run was good as well. Let's also give good marks to Ben Knight for making the dart into the area.
Yes, recognising his space. Again, this is where we talk about Cancelo popping up in a 10 position and giving it through balls. The ball was absolutely spot on. The run, I thought, was also really good. So again, this will get tighter and cleaner, but good movement there.
Yeah, plenty of pluses in the opening 45 minutes for City. Not least of which, of course, the fact that they lead through that delightful Riyad Mahrez free kick. Can't imagine the referee will add any time. And indeed not. So the first 45 minutes of pre-season for City goes, well, perfectly in many, many ways. A clean sheet at one end and a goal from a free kick by Riyad Mahrez. There'll be plenty of changes, I'm sure, in the second half, but so far so very, very good. At half-time, City 1, Preston 0.
Manchester City are 90 minutes away from winning the Premier League for the first time.
Goal! Breathtaking champion.
93-20, madness.
We're City. We don't do it the easy way.
93-20 is forever in our history. And for this season, it's woven into our fabric. Manchester, it's a different city.
Champions.
Champions!
Good evening, you're joining us at half-time at the CFA, Cal Spellman and Nadim Anua. We are playing Preston North End in our first pre-season friendly of the season, and the score currently stands at 1-0. 45 minutes in, Nadim, what is your assessment of the first half?
It's not the smoothest we've seen City, but people seem to be in good health. There are one or two nice bits of combination play and so on. The defending well. So I suppose for now it's mission accomplished.
It's mission accomplished. I mean, we were going to go through a few of the key moments in the game, but we've had quite a few young players there on the pitch. Was there any stand out to you?
It's not been, as I say, it's not been the smoothest of games. So for some of them, they've not been at their absolute best, but defensively they've done well. I think Brent Knight through the middle. I think he's been trying to stretch the play a bit, and people have been playing on the shoulder, and it's been good because when City do go on attack, there's a certain change in tempo, and I think the front three they're a big part of that. So overall, like I say, it's not been the cleanest, but I think the guys, they're doing themselves credit because in this team, I think they look quite good.
Really do. Let's go through some of the key moments of the game then. Of course, the score currently stands at 1-0. Let's take a look at the goal from Mahres. So this was the build-up to the free kick. Morgan Rogers, who was out on the left, moved over to the right.
That's nice, yeah. And that's with Cole stretching the game as well, playing on the shoulder. I think his ball retention's been really good as well. And in there, yeah, it's nice. Just commit, get the foul, and then Riyad was more than ready to pick that ball up.
You kind of knew as well in here, didn't you? I don't know about you. He was down. I was kind of like, this
that must be a nice feeling, you know. It must be a nice feeling to think, hey, this is me. Don't worry, guys, I've got this.
Hey, just walk back in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he just pops it on that spot right there. I was thinking he's probably going to score, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
probably going to score.
Do you feel the keeper could have done better, or is it just a beautifully placed free kick?
Let's have a look again. So that's 5 people in their wall, 2 for us in there. The keeper's probably not seen a lot, and he might be disappointed, but you know, goal's a goal.
A goal really is a goal. It's the only thing that separates us at the moment. But you mentioned it there in the build-up, though, that Cole Palmer's ball retention. Actually, you know, when I seen him play with the EDS, is very much in the wing, but to see him take that central role. Probably getting to showcase a bit more of his talent and what he can do.
Yeah, he's certainly doing that, yeah. I think there was only really one moment where I thought he gave it away quite easily, but overall, like, he's handling the ball really well, and I think a difference between, say, some of the academy players today compared to in my time is that they handle the ball really well whilst under pressure. You know, I think from when I was young, you wouldn't necessarily be playing the ball to people who are under, but for somebody like him, you give him the ball and you could have 1, 2, 3 people around him and you trust him with it, a la like a David Silva when he first came, because that's when I started to see the change at the club. And do you, as well, I don't know if you will have picked up on it here, but you know, a couple of times I've actually heard him shouting to Fernandinho, or maybe shouting over to Mendy or Cancelo for the ball. You've got to say that his club must be quite confident. Yeah, 100%. But then I think with some of these guys as well, it's an understanding of the job. You know, even though you're brand new to it, whether you've played 1 game or 1,000, the game's a lot easier when everybody communicates properly. So obviously there's a way in which you can talk to a senior pro, but your job in that position is to talk to them. Here's a man on, I'm a free, give me the ball, come high, go low, move left, move right. Makes the game easy for everyone. And I tell you, when getting football is at its absolute hardest when you can't speak and when you don't speak, because you never know what's going on around you. So for somebody like him to come in and to be commanding that position, I think it just shows he knows his role.
Absolutely. There was a chance in earlier on in the half from a young Ben Knight who had adopted, it looked like, the forward role. I think he was tirelessly running all half, to be fair to Ben Knight.
100%, yeah.
And he was a little bit unlucky here, starting with Cancelo.
Yeah, and then Tamares. And look, as I say, he's just continually playing on the back shoulder. And I'll be honest, as a defender, a game where somebody is always in front of you is far easier than one where they're constantly making you run back towards your own goal. And I think he's got like a size disadvantage in terms of the people he's playing up against, but he's putting himself about and he's working them hard. I think it's a bit unfortunate there, but you know, I think another chance will come.
I'm right. I think I'm right in saying that usually they do say as well in that position. You have to kind of go for the keepers.
Listen, me as a defender, all I will say is when you get up there is don't panic. So you know, that would be my key bit of advice. And he didn't appear to panic, but yeah, you know, he'll get better. He'll get the opportunity again. And I think for these players now, if that moment does come, they would have learned from that, and maybe he'll try something a bit different next time. You know, he probably had more time than he realised as well, but. You know, he'll look back at it and he'll learn from it.
The next one we want to highlight here is a Morgan Rogers shot where it involved Benjamin Mendy and also Cole Palmer once again. Starting with Diaz there, of course. But popping up all over Cole Palmer, which is really great to see.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it shows that he's got the personality to want to get on the ball, and you see that there's just those people are the worst to play against, honestly. But again, it's pass, it's move, it's pass, it's move, timing of the pass as well. And then, yeah, he gets cleared, but City, you know, they gather the ball around the edge of the box. I think for as much as people give them credit for keeping the ball, one of the ways in which they do so is they always come up behind it should they lose it. So that's, you know, as you can see with this move here, you know, the move isn't finished. You look at everybody ringing the box, and you can get so many second opportunities. And listen, it's not the best strike in the world, but the fact is you're in that position. If you weren't, maybe that's a counter-attack for Preston.
Yeah, I know you were talking as well, actually, Nathan, saying, because we saw there the overlap from Mendy. On the other side of the pitch a couple of times, you could see actually the well-versed and well-rehearsed you were saying. It's just a different class, isn't it?
It's different, yeah. Like I've seen it with some of these combinations sometimes, because with Mahrez and Cancelo, they know their roles so well and they work really well together. So the things that they do in the moves, they're not independent of each other. They are literally working together. If one guy goes this way, the other guy goes that way. And as a defender, if somebody runs across you, you're going to naturally go towards them. But they're only doing that to create space for somebody else. But with a team like City, the one time you don't go is when a ball gets played in behind and that person goes through on goal. So essentially you're just along for the ride as opposed to dictating play, and that's what happens when you play against the best.
I guess as well, actually, I don't Of me, and obviously these guys have been in over time, but there did seem to be as well from the young players quite a few selfless runs where I think they were trying to do that to create the space, which says as we were talking before the game, they know the system, they know what's required.
That's the system, that's the role. You can be disappointed if you don't get played in, but the fact is the system hinges on you continuing to make said run. So that's the beauty, I think of this City side and the football club in general now. It's not about ego, it's about people getting involved in a system and doing it well to the point where everybody can succeed together. Because if you have an attacker that doesn't want to run in behind, spoils the game for probably 2-3 other players, and before you know it, as I say, it's not a good performance.
Well, let's take a little look at this Cancelo Mahrez thing that we were talking about. Here we go. This was just a little bit from the first half.
He's just there are lots of little bits in terms of timings of run and things like that. Like that run there from Cancelo. Everything that they're doing, as I say, is one of the other midfielders because they have to track the run. Riyad Mahrez is just trying to stand in a spot there, which is going to make it impossible for this next person. The three's looking back saying, where's the next person?
Yeah.
But like I say, the decisions that they're making, they're not independent of each other. Everything that they're doing, as I say, it serves a purpose. They know that individually they're good, but working together they're great. And with the quality that they have, look how many chances and stuff that, he's got to be disappointed to not take that. But look at the chances that they can create and look at the nightmare, because there's nothing worse as defenders being caught just in no man's land.
Yeah.
You're looking at Cancelo 5 yards in front of you panicking. Mahrez is 5 yards behind you as well. Like what are you supposed to do at that point? You know what I mean? Somebody help.
I know what I've been doing.
I'm not too proud to say help. Somebody help me, please.
Of course, I think Preston, I've kind of given a great account of themselves. They had a one little chance there, and we were talking about how much we enjoy Zach Stefan, and he came through right away when we needed him to.
Yeah, exactly. He's been good. As this ball came over, I thought this is a good ball. We're in trouble. It seemed like we were lost a little bit, and it's a good first touch. But as a defender, if you've got a goalkeeper who's on the front foot, like Edison, like Zach, then you never really have to run too far. Because I've had plenty of times where I'd be on the halfway line now, opening up to full speed, like turbo boosters on, knowing I have to go all the way back.
Yeah.
But when people can nip stuff in the bud there, it gives you such a great opportunity, and you can win the ball back, and it puts off the opposition because now they probably won't try that ball too often because they know it's going to be wasted.
Yeah. Now you might not tell me off for saying this, but I have to say it because there was a few times throughout these couple of seasons where City get undone by one ball over the top.
Yes.
Is it a worry that we're seeing it there?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Purely because it was dealt with.
Okay.
And I think as far as these defenders go, they're not the type to make the same mistake over and over and over.
Okay.
So you learn and you adapt. They'll remember that. Everybody in that back four remember that. So when they go and play in the next game, they probably won't be as front foot in a certain moment as they would do, given the fact that they were trying to be front foot in the opposition half where they can't be offside. But then the other side of the thing is, the goalkeeper was still switched on. He dealt with it. Nothing happened.
Clean sheet still.
There you go. So don't worry.
We're all right.
We're okay.
Thanks,
Nobody
Nathan.
scored. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, listen, City Plus is the place where you can catch the second half action. If you've just tuned in, you just have to subscribe. Currently 1-0. Sure, we're going to see some more young players. We'll be back at full time. Enjoy the game. Come on, City.
So Preston North End emerged for the second half. City have already emerged for the start of the second half, but with 10 new outfield players. So we will talk you through those changes as the second half gets underway. But all the 10 outfield players have made way, and the only player who is still out there who started the first half for the Blues is the goalkeeper, Zach Steffen, who has just done a little fist pump with the senior man of those who've come on, the captain in the second half, Philippe Sandler. Dutchman signed from Zwolle, who was on loan at Anderlecht 18 months ago, but picked up an injury that has kept him out for some time, actually. It's good to see him fit and well again. And as I say, I will talk you through all the changes as the second half emerge, because as you can imagine, not all the names and numbers have come up on the substitutes board, because it will probably take about 10 minutes to go through every single one of them. But as the game goes on, I will tell you who's come on. It'll be the new look City that get the second half underway. And just to go through the players who've come on in this second half, it's probably easier just as they touch the ball to do it, rather than go through a list of 10 names with you. But the first pass is aimed towards one of those substitutes who've come on inevitably. Luke Bolton trying to get a touch there. It's gone out for a
The good thing is a lot of these City players, the young ones, are all used to playing with each other. So I would imagine that again, they'll want to, similar to the lads who've gone off, get their rhythm, get that touch, get their first pass, their length of pass in terms of those who knock those long passes, get that rhythm going.
Steffen has the ball at his feet. Guides it into the path of Pablo Moreno, Spanish striker who City signed from Juventus, was on loan at Girona last season in the second tier of the Spanish league. So important for these young players to get meaningful game time. Ball goes out to Sami Dozy, who has the chance to attack from this left-hand side. A youngster who was part of the Premier League 2 title-winning side and previously the FA Youth Cup winning squad. And he's already won a free kick for City.
This will give him a nice bit of confidence, receiving a ball early, driving at the pressing North End's defence, and getting that foul. So this, as a forward coming on, this he'll want more of this. He'll be looking to be fed more, to have this, to be able to run at Preston North End.
Well, hovering over the free kick is the aforementioned Pablo Moreno, but also Patrick Roberts, who has been with City for a number of years now. It's Pablo Moreno that hits the free kick. It struck the centre of the wall, really. And here's the first touch of the second half for Claudio Gomez. Goes all the way back to Zach Steffen. French-born midfielder who came on as a substitute in the FA Cup last season at Swansea. You may recall Claudio Gomez had around about 8 or 9 minutes there. Here's Luke Bolton. Stopped in his tracks. Preston haven't made changes by the look of it. Story there making the intervention.
be interesting to watch Claudio Gomez. He's in that holding role. You know, he obviously trained with the first team and be able to see what Fernandinho has been able to do. I'm intrigued to see how he sniffs out the play. Certainly when they're
such an important role for any Pep Guardiola team, but he's been caught in his tracks there a little bit. Preston trying to build, but good foot in by Sandler. Here's Barkhausen. But that is a free kick to the Blues because of the challenge on James McAtee, who is another of those successful and here's one of them, Edozie. Well, it would have been, but Ripley diving at the feet of Edozie and stopping him getting to the ball.
It's not. I mean, it's really the timing of his run. It's just asked a little too much for him, but the thought, and the execution is well, not so much the execution, but the thought is right as to try to get it between that fullback.
City win it back very swiftly with Finlay Burns, 18 years old, regular in the Premier League 2 title-winning team last season. Sandler trying to pick out Edozie, just too firm on the pass, goes out for a Preston throw. Good to see him back playing again. Last time he played for Pep Guardiola was in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup of January 2019. One game against Burton, another against Rotherham. He was then loaned out to Vincent Kompany's Anderlecht, where he picked up an injury. 24 years old now, the Dutchman.
I'm intrigued to see Preston North End's mentality, because again, Preston will have these players have been around the block in terms of the Championship and even some in League One. But to knowing that they're playing against 18-year-olds, 19 and younger, they wouldn't want to get passed off the pitch. So I think we may see the tasty challenge. So I'm intrigued to see how their game changes as opposed to what we saw Preston do in the first half.
Well, they've won the ball back in City territory here, Preston. But City have got it back themselves, but Matt Smith has been penalised. 21-year-old midfielder, Frankie McAvoy, with a very different proposition now in the second half. In the first half, he probably would have to accept that City were the better team, but now the onus will be on his side to try and outfight the youngsters, even if it is a pre-season friendly. Here's Potts. The weather's changed rather dramatically in the last few minutes. Bit of weak summer sunshine has made way to some teeming rain. Welcome to British summertime. Free kick to Preston. You just see there on those pictures the rain coming down. Here's Vandenberg for Preston. Lays it straight into the path of Story. Now Vandenberg with a chance to attack City. The ball clipped in was a useful one, but the header over the top by Brad Potts just couldn't stretch out tall enough.
Yes, the delivery initially when I watched him cross it, I thought actually it was a great ball, but I think it's just a little, probably, a half a foot too high for him. Potts just can't get over it. It may have been better flashing that ball for Potts to slide in and get on the end, but not bad play by Preston.
I mentioned that City have made 10 substitutions. Preston haven't made any so far. But I mentioned earlier that this is their 6th pre-season friendly. So a lot more game time already in the legs of many of the players out there. But it's a chance for you to have a look at some of the promising young talent that City have coming through the ranks. And there's plenty of them who will be knocking on the first team door, trying to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Phil Foden. And Pep Guardiola has certainly got a reputation for giving them that opportunity. And here's Luke Bolton. I suppose one of the more senior men out on show now for the City at 21. Finley Burns confident in possession. Here's Sandler. Now Bolton. Sandler again. Inside out. It's nice play by City. Good combinations. Nice first time passing and move. Inside out. So there's no sort of excuse that they don't know each other.
The one thing that will also be on the mind, knowing that the manager is managing this game tonight. He's not sitting, he's standing observing. Actually, he's managing them. So, you would anticipate that they would all have this change of pace, this just thinking consciously that I want to perform well to stay in Pep's mind that, if you're considering young players, then I'm one of those you should be considering.
Well, the Carabao Cup is often an opportunity, the FA Cup another, and even once or twice in the Champions League to blood young players. But here's one who might want to sniff of the first team, Edozie, and his shot is saved by Ripley. Made a save in the first half with his legs to deny Knight. Now he does the same to stop Edozie.
Well, he actually gets it. The defender does well. Preston fullback does well to keep him the small angle of the goal. It comes off the keeper, but the keeper does well to punch back on it. Edozie will be pleased to have hit the target, but didn't catch it as much as he probably had liked.
City expressing themselves delightfully to open Preston up, and they've won a free kick because of the late challenge on James McAtee. Won the under-23 Premier League 2 title last season. He scored in the FA Youth Cup win against Chelsea a year earlier, and scored a couple of goals against Stoke City in the Premier League Cup final for the under-23 age group. Pep Guardiola watching his and indeed everybody else's move here, and that's a free kick for offside, I think, against Ched Evans.
Well, Ched Evans is an experienced player in terms of, has been around the block, and one long ball to be caught offside, he'll be disappointed because he knows he can see the defender stay onside, time is run, so he'll be disappointed that he's run offside.
Preston about to make a change or two, just looking over to the Preston bench. So City in possession of the ball. He picks out the pass sweetly to Edozie. Fleet of foot Edozie. Sensible pass as well. Here's Roberts with that left foot of his, which has always been a feature of his game. A deflection on the shot takes it out for a City corner.
It's good play by Edozie. He runs, eventually switches to play on the far side, and you know the crime of defenders Preston, and they managed to get a body in to deflect it for a corner. But Edozie again driving down that left-hand side, looking to get the shot off.
Jean Couteau who struck the shot that was deflected out. It'll be Roberts that takes the corner. Mentioned that sweet left foot of his. It was the in-swinger. Preston managed to get it away. Stefan again with the feet, nice and confident. Lays it to Finlay Burns and on to Sandler. He brings in Bolton. It's good play by City to bring in Jean Couteau. Brazilian who was on loan at Girona last season.
The game's perhaps taking 15 minutes in the second half now to see some normal patterns that we're seeing. The left fullback step inside. He's just on the ball now, but he was inverted, and this is where we tend to see Cancelo in and around those areas. He's just lost possession.
James McAtee adjudged to have fouled Brad Potts. Free kick to Preston, who are about to make looks like 3 changes, maybe 4. One of the joys of pre-season as a commentator is trying to keep on top of all the substitutions. 10 in the half-time interval and 4 more now for Preston. So 14 changes in personnel to try and keep across.
Preston, number 13, number 26, is replaced by number 19, Reese. And the number...
Again, this is very typical. They're a lot more ahead in terms of their pre-season, when their season start. We're talking 60 minutes for players who are typical first teamers that'll be starting. This is what they'll be looking for, getting a good 60 minutes under their belt. Looking forward to the season.
Offside. And a free kick to City. Sandler and Burns, the 2 City centre halves. And Stefan gives it to Burns. Jean Couteau, the right back, and Luke Bolton, the left back. City caught out there, and in the end the chip over the top goes over the head of Zach Stefan and on to the top of the net. Lesson learnt there.
Well, yes, he's going with the outside his foot, and he's inches from putting it in the goal.
City's determination to play out from the back is not going to alter just because Preston are pressing them high up. And even if it is a group of young players, they still have to learn to receive the ball under pressure. It's nicely done by Claudio Gomez. It's so important, isn't it, Sean, that they learn from very early that they have to receive the ball even with someone breathing down their neck.
Well, yes, and this is why you see them do warm-ups and they do runders, 5v2, 6v3, these numbers, so that they're in these tight pockets and they can maneuver the ball out of those situations.
Well, they've manoeuvred it beautifully into the path of McAtee. City looking to maybe get themselves a second goal. It was Moreno who's on the ball again. Smith joining in. McAtee opens up nicely. That's nice. Edozie, brilliant. Absolutely superb goal. And Sean Gota, you are so impressed with it.
Yes, I mean, the movement, the ball skill. I got to get his name right, but the bit of trickery that he did, he really saw the defender. He fakes to shoot. And then he just does a reverse pass. Now, Edozie gets on it. And again, he's not got the biggest of angle, but he manages to squeeze it into the near post. So again, Edozie's been making those driving runs, looking to get a defender, but this time he's behind the defence and managed to get a shot, and it's police who have scored.
Well, McAtee with the assist, brilliant. Edozie with the finish, equally so. And City lead by 2-0, and Pep Guardiola may be presiding over a group of young players, but he's still just as keen to get his instructions across. And now the final player who was playing in the first half is going to make way, because Zach Steffen is going to be replaced by Kieran Slicker. So that's it, all 11 from the first half have now made way.
Substitution for City number 3.
Zach will be pleased with a clean sheet. Again, having some minutes, a bit of handling, but he's got his clean sheet. This is what goalkeepers, this is what they want. They go in the dressing room and we've got a clean sheet, well done. And this is what you want as a goalkeeper in pre-season games.
He did his best work with his feet, actually, Zach Steffen, sweeping up at the back a couple of times. Anyway, from a goal-scoring point of view, with 20 minutes of the second half gone, it is City 2, Preston 0. Sami Edozie adding to the Riyad Mahrez free kick. And remember, they're up against senior players, Preston. Several of these players will be starting the first game of the new championship season in a couple of weeks. So it is credit to the young City players that they have doubled the advantage given to them by the more senior-looking 11 in the first half. Here's McAtee, who plays such a wonderful part in that second goal. Again, he was looking towards Edozie, almost found him as well. And City do have men over here. Here's Roberts, working it onto that trusty left boot of his and still trying to work something. City under pressure, though, and Matt Smith has to go away from goal, and then it back to McAtee again. And look how comfortable these City players are in possession, even against senior pros. Here's Philippe Sandler. McAtee. On towards Pablo Moreno. Breaks towards Edozie. Preston win it back. Sean Gota, look how comfortable everybody is in possession of the ball.
Yes, they are. I mean, this is the recruitment team at City. This is one of the things they have to have is the ability to control, manipulate the ball. Obviously, game intelligence as well. But again, from goalkeeper through to centre forward, all having this ability to control the ball well and pass it accurately.
And here's Sandler. On towards McAtee, 18 years old. Now Bolton, one of the older players out on the show, 21 years old. Finlay Burns in possession, so confident, 18 years old. Jan Couto, 19. And now Gomez. Teenagers everywhere. And up against a senior Preston North End Championship lineup and playing delightful football. Here's Bolton again. And now Edozie, another teenager. Terrific wing play, and he almost threaded it through, and it was almost a third goal for City.
Again, Edozie is winning that ball. He's saying, give it to me. He's feeling this is a moment that, yes, Pep Guardiola sees him training, but he's managing him tonight, and he's thinking, I want to leave a mark. He scored himself a goal, but he gets the ball, and he's looking to cause confusion amongst the Preston defence. I love that positive attitude he's had driving at their defence.
Here's Gomez. Now Smith. Gomez again. Sandler. Bolton. I mentioned the number of players who've been loaned out to get first team experience. There's plenty out there who have. But several who have only played under 18 and under 23 football. So this will be a terrific experience for them. Here's Bolton, who was at Dundee United last season in the top division in Scotland. Gomez and Ian Kuto. That's a foul. Free kick to City.
Yeah, I anticipate a couple of tackles coming from Preston because I've seen the rhythm start. City starting to get a bit of rhythm. Again, they're moving the ball from left to right, and these players know, the cobwebs coming on as a whole team second half, but the cobwebs you see are going. They're moving the ball, shifting it, and I'm looking, and you could not, you look at this and you think 18 euros, 19 euros, and we know Preston have got some players that have played, over 250 games. Some have played Premier League and Championship. So again, the one thing you don't want to do is be taking your mickey off. So again, City are being professional. They're moving the ball, but there'll be one or two defenders that will be saying, hey, get tighter. So I would anticipate, perhaps the odd tackle. Senior players don't like to be run around.
Well, another two changes for Preston. Tom Bayliss and Josh Harrop coming on.
Number 17, Ben White, will be replaced by number 7, Tom Bayliss.
So free kick to City for the foul by Ledson on Jan Kuto, who was one of those who went off, by the way, Ledson. Here's Roberts, on loan at Derby County last season, Patrick Roberts. Here's Bolton, does really well. Sells the dummy and gets himself some space.
Oh, the dummy was that good. I fell for it. It was really good. Good footwork, and he turned out of that and switched to play.
I wondered where Sean was off to there. All is explained. "19 minutes to go. City's first pre-season friendly of the 21-22 season, and they lead by 2-0 despite having changed all 11 players who started the first half. Goals from Edozie in the second half, and the first half team scorer was Riyad Mahrez. All the senior players are now on watching brief, watching the second half action. And to be fair, they were up and applauding when Edozie popped in the second goal. Berg, but nicely trapped by Sandler, and the pass is excellent as well to bring in Gomez. Here's Smith. 21, part of the Welsh squad actually, out in the Euros. Matt Smith, who was at Doncaster on loan last season. Here's Gomez, who really does look extremely comfortable in possession of the ball in that holding midfield position. But Jan Kuto has lost the ball, and his attempt to win it back was penalised. Free kick taken quickly by Preston. Here's Van den Berg on the outside, and the flag is up for offside, and City will have a free kick. Cross came in from Van den Berg, but the flag was raised.
Well, Preston tried to catch City napping there, done a quick free kick, it went wide, flashed it across, but City was switched on. Even though these are young lads, they understand and know the game that you can switch off at any time. So brilliant bit of alertness by the City defence there.
Slicker playing it along the floor to Moreno, who was muscled out of it. Pablo Moreno, 19 years old, scored a couple of goals on loan at Girona last season. A tackle by Bolton on the slide. Bolton saw that intended pass towards Van den Berg, cut it out well. Meadows has been beaten to it, and it's a Preston throw. I noticed at the weekend that Taylor Harwood-Bellis made his Anderlecht debut on Sunday for Vincent Kompany on loan at the Belgian club. Another player who's come through the City ranks, signed a new contract actually in the summer, Harwood-Bellis. And if memory serves, he made his debut for City's first team against Preston when these two sides last met in a meaningful game in the Carabao Cup. Can't think of a better player to learn from than your head coach Vincent Kompany as a central defender for Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Anyway, here's Edozie, who's already scored and has been lively down the left-hand side. Smith plays it out to Roberts, left-footed on the right side for the Blues. And he works the opening well and got underneath his shot. Everything but the shot was really impressive, wasn't it?
Yes, he's coming off the right flank. We know he wants to get on that left foot. He's actually trying to generate too much power, therefore gets under it. So he'll want to be hitting the target next time round.
He's been on loan at a number of different clubs over the years, Patrick Roberts. But the flag is not going up, and Slicker had to come out. And there's a fearful crack between the two players. Slicker, I think, might well be concussed here. It does look as though he's dazed. Let's hope he's all right.
Yeah, he's moving. He's up. Well, not up, but he is moving. But that was, I mean, his decision making there. He paused to delay to see whether or not the ball was going to come through. With the better drizzle, he realized it did come through. He had it in his hands, and his momentum through having it then takes him into the striker who's running to try to receive that pass, and therefore his land. I think it's the land that puts him in a bit of trouble, but hopefully it's not too bad.
Well, it was Slicker and Bayliss who collided with each other, and the medical teams are on for both players. It did look as though Slicker might have been momentarily concussed there, I have to say, and I think City are very quickly warming up Zach Steffen to take his place, which is understandable. And Kieran Slicker, who's only been out on the field on about 5 or 10 minutes, he's going to have to leave it immediately, sadly.
This is one thing, you know, as players, you hopefully he is okay. But as players in pre-season, you know, you go off and knowing sometimes you may have to come on because things like this can happen. I think it's important for Zach to stay loose, and we'll probably find when City attacking, he's actually warming himself back up if he actually comes on. I think Pep will make the decision anyway, just to make sure that the kid's okay.
Yeah. Let's hope Kieran Slicker is okay, because it was a fearful crack that he took from Tom Bayliss. The two of them just honestly going for the ball, nothing other than an honest collision, but both felt the brunt of each other's bodies, and Slicker hit the deck rather dramatically.
That becomes for goalkeepers, we talk about players making decisions and decision making. He's made the right decision. He actually paused, and he paused because if the ball holds up, then he's in no man's land by going. Hit back to back. I think for the keeper, I think it was the landing in that how he hit the ground that's caused him the bother. But his decision making, I think, was spot on. And normally those sort of situations for young goalkeepers, they tend not to get too right. But he's made the absolute right decision. He was spot on, and it's just unfortunate. And he's landed on his back on the ground. So let's hope he's okay.
Well, Zach Steffen has come on, not just because he's going to replace Kieran Slicker, but just to check on the youngster's condition.
Zach's taking it upon himself to do his warm-up now, which is right, as will be another minute or so, but to get himself loose and warm, because the last thing we want is Zach Knight to go on Zach to not be warm and only some 10 minutes and so to go and not be wrong and injure himself by pulling a muscle.
Well,
in saying that, he's had very little, Preston, it's not really challenged him. But again, we know football. This delay, they could switch you on and create an opportunity.
Well, if you're just joining us, we have a break in play because of an accidental collision between City's second half substitute goalkeeper Kieran Slicker and Tom. Fortunately, Kieran Slicker took a hefty old whack, and he's now under the careful scrutiny of the medical teams here. Just checking on his well-being and making sure that he's getting the very best attention.
The Preston season is not too, obviously the championship starts before the Premier League. Last season, they fared sort of mid-table, change of manager towards the end of the season. I wonder if they're going through a phase in that, the previous manager wanted to play football, play a certain way. Preston Northern people are workmanlike and want you to get stuck in. So it'd be interesting to see. Clearly what we've seen here, them trying to play football, but I would imagine when we get to the start of their season, they'll be a little bit more direct, a little bit more physical, and again, pre-season, it's about just getting the minutes in and trying to avoid injuries, even accidental ones such as this, and let's hope that he's okay as well.
Well, as is right and proper, the medical team are taking as much time as is necessary to make sure that Kieran Slicker is okay. And it is absolutely correct that no one is rushed, nobody is hurried. Everything has to be done precisely and correctly.
Because we have such a young squad, normally you'd be thinking, move around. As they're gathering, you see them gathering their bits, move around, keep yourself moving, because we look like we're, a minute or so away from restarting. But these players, they're 18 and they feel as though they can't, just pull an injury of some sort. But again, we've had, I'm not sure how long this delay has been, but again, the little drizzle coming down, they would have cooled down a little bit. So see one or two stretching the thighs and quads and etc. It's important they get themselves moving to restart again, so there's no injuries there.
Well, it goes without saying that we wish Kieran Slicker a speedy recovery, and let us hope that he is back and raring to go sooner rather than later. But he is just being helped away from the pitch, and he goes with our heartfelt wishes for a speedy recovery. And indeed, Pep Guardiola comes over to check on the young man's well-being. So the play restarts after that lengthy delay. And just a reminder, Zach Steffen, who had come off, has now come back on to replace Kieran Slicker for the remaining few minutes of the game. I don't know if the referee will add on all the time that was lost by the injury. But anyway, we have roughly 5 minutes to go, and Preston have a free kick. Preston have a corner.
Well, that resulting free kick end up getting the foul because they were a little bit switched on to that. That's what you get with senior players.
Preston corner. Which City have to defend. Sandler did well, rose the highest, and in the end got it out of harm's way. Dangerous in it. Ball breaks sweetly, and he dozes on the ball again. McAtee was once short back pass, and in the end Ripley thumping it away as Smith was trying to get it for the Blues. Here's Gomez. Here's Gomez again. Now Sandler. And Bolton. Pass intended for Sandler, but picked off by Maguire. Incidentally, the Preston player who collided with Kieran Slicker, Tom Bayliss, is okay and is continuing to play as the flag goes up for offside.
One would say that, City hold a good line, or one would say that Preston just do not time their runs. The number of times they've been caught offside, and I'd like to say it's City holding that line very well, being disciplined and catching Preston up. Here with a couple of minutes to go,
They've won themselves yet another corner. I think it's about their third in 5 minutes since the break in play. To be fair, City have defended high balls quite well. Got another one to test them here. And again, it was Sandler who got his head to the ball. Played in by Harrop, goes out for yet another corner. As we reach the 90th minute. Again, I think it was Sandler that got the touch. Maybe Burns behind him, but either way, City got the first ball away. They're going to have to deal with the second ball now. Dozy trying to make it difficult, but Preston still threatening, and well, they went right across the face of the goal, and nobody able to get a touch wearing green, and City get that one away. It's a wicked ball in by Rafferty.
City have done really well and just wouldn't want to concede a goal, and to be fair, Preston had a really good opportunity there. Player sliding far post, just unable to make that contact. But all the hard work the City have done to keep this clean sheet, they just need to see through by maintaining possession.
So 5 minutes of added time because of the injury to Kieran Slicker. City leading with those 2 goals, 1 in each half. Riyad Mahrez from a free kick in the first half. Dozy with a left foot shot in the second after some excellent work by McAtee. And Zach Steffen looks as though he's going to get a clean sheet in his first meaningful work of pre-season. Free kick though to Preston, who have certainly tried their utmost to at least get themselves on the score sheet in the remaining minutes of the game. We're into the second minute of added time of 5. And Josh Harrop is standing over the delivery of this free kick. Headed away by Gomez. Another example of how well City have dealt with crossed balls into the box. Certainly worked hard out of possession, the Blues. And they've had to work exceptionally hard in the latter stages of the contest.
Players are very vocal. Centre backs there saying no foul, squeeze, push up, keep his head down. This is the information that's given to make sure they try to keep this clean sheet and see this game through.
3rd minute of added time. Another good block. This time by McAtee. Bayliss. Worked out wide towards Story. Good in by McAtee. Tried to thread it through for Roberts. It's a good idea. Couldn't quite complete the pass.
This is certainly what you'll find with the the City first team players, that ball will be capped, the ball will be shifted, and this is what, you know, Pep, I'm sure, will be saying to the youngster that are trying that ball over the top. If you're going to, it has to come off, because again, we're now having to defend late in the game. The game is won, but this is all about the development and learning, and also getting the minutes in for these young lads.
Well, Sean, as we reach the last 90 seconds of added time, what's impressed you most about the second half City team?
Well, we saw but I'm impressed with the, you know, again, some of the players, the communication, we expect that. Normally you get young players to
lineups. The first half had the senior pros, or those who were available anyway. The likes of محرز, Fernandinho, Diaz, Cancelo, Ake, Mendy. Second half, other than Zach Steffen, just a lot of young players who've come through the academy. Here's Patrick Roberts, one of those who was signed a number of years ago, didn't come through the academy, but City start their pre-season with a terrific performance and a really good display. Two different lineups in the first half and the second, a goal in each half, one from Riyadh. The second, a really nice move ended by Edozie. And just one rather worrying moment when Kieran Slicker was unfortunately involved in a collision that saw him carried off. We wish him well, and I'm sure we'll bring you news of his well-being on the City website in the next few days. But for the time being, pre-season has ended with a Preston North End defeat for the Blues. City 2, Preston North End 0.
22 seasons. Please look after yourselves, each other. Please stay as safe as you can.
Well, here's the best action of this pre-season friendly. Knight with the first opportunity for City. A good save by Connor Ripley. City looking the likelier to score in the first half. In the end, it took a Riyad Mahrez bending free kick. It may be a pre-season friendly, but Mahrez clearly has his sights set already. There was another chance to make it 2 when Mahrez and Mendy combined, but Cole Palmer put the ball over the top of the bar. The City, even though they made 10 outfield changes, were still resilient, and they had to do a lot more defending in the second period. Preston didn't offer too much, to be fair, at all over the top of the bar. The City, even though they made 10 outfield changes, still they had to do a lot more defending in the second period. Preston didn't offer too much, to be fair, at